I can't see if there's anybody joining quite yet, but welcome to our live session and Q&A today. My name is Brooke Bracey. Abigail and I are happy to be here. Oh, we do have some people joining. Great. Awesome. They're all coming in now that we've opened it up. Welcome.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm just seeing everyone sign up now. Some familiar names there. So nice to see you all. I've spoken to a few of you on the phone, I know. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, or this evening, or this morning, depending on where you are. So Brooke, it's morning.
I've noticed lately on the Salesforce live webinars that they all say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. They're all very aware that they have a global audience listening into their sessions. So I'm happy that we do too.
Supermums is going global. It's exciting. But I'm not quite used to remembering that everyone's in a different time and place.
Yeah. I'm sharing my screen here, but I can't remember. Are you seeing also the video that I have up in the corner? I like to see everyone's faces, but I don't want to block the slides.
Yeah, well, I can certainly see both of us and the slides perfectly.
Okay, great. Well, shall we get going today now that we have a nice group joining us?
Yeah, let's do it. And by the way, guys, do put in some any questions you have throughout the session. Do make sure you're putting them in the chat or the Q&A. I'll keep an eye on both, and we'll be happy to answer them. We might answer them immediately if they're relevant. If not, we might just wait till the end or a relevant point of the webinar. But yeah, do please ask any questions you've got.
Very good. What was that, Abigail?
I was going to say, I'll hand over to you just to flip it to the next slide and we'll get
great. Absolutely.
So we're just going to do a really brief introduction. If some of you were on the webinar we did last week that was more about Sales Cloud, you will have seen some of these slides. So we're just going to whiz through them quite quickly. If you missed the webinar that was last week that focused a little bit more on Sales Cloud, then do go back and look at that. It is available on our website. Just wanted to place a little bit of context around what we're talking about today and why it's a good idea to train in Supermums. So when Brooke and I and Heather and Vicky, other members of our team, were lucky enough last year to go to Dreamforce, which is the big Salesforce conference in San Francisco, this was one of the slides that came up. And it was really interesting for us to see because we know all the time that we're getting a lot of employers coming to us and saying Salesforce skills are in demand, we need people with Salesforce skills, and this really brought it home quite how big the Salesforce economy is. So these are jobs that are available using Salesforce. So they're not all jobs with Salesforce, but they're jobs with Salesforce customers, Salesforce partners, and all the different organizations that use the product. So you can see, certainly in Western Europe and the Americas, lots and lots of opportunity, and there's some more detail across the bottom of individual countries as well. But it's certainly true that it's a global organization. So that's certainly something that drew me to training in Salesforce, the opportunities that it has for being international and working all over the world. That's something that was really exciting for me. And I know that we're obviously in a very different time now than we were in November. And Brooke is always you're always on social media and got your ear to the ground about what's going on in the Salesforce world. And I know you've seen some interesting stuff lately about the Salesforce economy and how it's coping with COVID-19.
Absolutely. I've really been following it closely because we have our first group of US-based trainees going through the training program now. They were just getting assigned to their work experience projects right when, you know, most of our worlds started changing so much in the way we lived our daily lives and the impact to jobs for some people in our network or our families or us personally. And so I was very aware of the fact that our trainees were probably concerned about this. And I follow a couple different people on LinkedIn that have job search advice and kind of the job market advice, and I started listening to them right away, and I heard them saying things that were really reassuring to me that I wanted to pass on to people. For one, they're saying the industries that are more secure are, one of the industries that's more secure is tech, and one of the links I'll share with you is actually includes Salesforce in that group of companies in tech that is specifically still hiring and still looking for talent. And what they were saying in those sessions is that also when you have an industry or a company that needs talent, then the other companies that support those industries and companies also are more secure right now. And so that's one thing to consider. The other thing that I loved hearing from them is that this is a good time to skill up and to get new skills. It's a good time to think about changing careers, which kind of seems counterintuitive, but what they were saying is that, for one thing, if you found yourself realizing that your industry wasn't as secure as you thought, it's a good time to think about something else. And also, new talent in certain industries may have more open doors in the near future, because companies will be more budget conscious than they have been recently in their hiring decisions. So they may be more open to consider new talent because of that budget conscious approach. So I'm going to share some links with you about that in the chat. You can watch for that.
We'll put them in the chat, and also I'll be putting some stuff in a follow-up email that you'll get as well. So any links that we reference today, I'll make sure come in the follow-up email that you'll get in a couple of days. So don't worry about trying to take them all down now, because we will share them with you later. But thanks for that update, Brooke. Yes, definitely a lot of people are asking me when I'm talking to them about retraining about the jobs afterwards. And for sure, we're living in a different world and we're all just figuring it out. But it seems like Salesforce and tech, particularly anything that helps businesses be more effective and do their work online, is the way to go. So still lots of opportunities up and coming in this area, which is really, really great. So
Absolutely.
do you want to hop on?
One thing I love for our community, most people in our community are looking for more remote, flexible options. And companies are having to adjust to that now. They're realizing that it works. They're learning lots of things. So I anticipate we're going to see more opportunities like that in the near future.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been a prime example really just in our business of how much Salesforce and this technology enables remote working, because I mean, a lot has changed, but also a lot hasn't changed for me in terms of doing my day-to-day job. We're still kind of pretty much carrying on, and because our training has always been remote and flexible, we're able to just be really consistent with our offer and really kind of weather this storm, if you like. So that's been really, really great for us as kind of individuals within the business, but also for everyone who's training with us as well. Just going to take you through, so this Salesforce Customer 360, you may have seen referred to before. It's about this idea of having a single source of truth. So all the different products within Salesforce speaking to each other to enable a business to have all the information they need in one place to provide a good quality service for a customer, but also so that the customer on the other end of that has a really seamless experience with that business. So last time, if any of you were on the webinar before, we talked a little bit about Sales Cloud and its functionality, and that's one of Salesforce's core products. This time, we're going to talk a little bit about Service Cloud. So Sales Cloud and Service Cloud in particular are two of the products that if you train in Salesforce, particularly via the administrator course and want to take your administrator exam, they're two of the products you're going to start to get to know and get to know pretty well. So we thought that if you're thinking about joining Salesforce, I know certainly before I joined the training, you know, I wanted to see inside it, I wanted to get to grips with it and understand exactly what it was. So we thought it would be a nice idea to give you a bit of an insight into what Service Cloud is and what it can do, both from like if you're administering it and seeing what it looks like on the other end of the customer. So Brooke's going to give us a little bit of a demonstration of Service Cloud and what it can do. So Brooke, I'll hand over back to you now.
Excellent, thank you. And I just shared some links in chat. I'll change the slide in just a moment, but I shared some links in chat about what we talked about a moment ago. Two of the people that I follow on LinkedIn, because of the insights they share about the job market. That's not Salesforce specific, that's in general the job market, and one of them specifically about job search tips. I love her advice. And then the final link in that chat that I shared is the first person I follow. He has a blog post where he's updating on a weekly basis the job market insights in light of COVID-19. So check those out if you're interested, especially if you're looking for a job in the short term. And we will go on to, let's see, I need to resume my slide share. We'll go on to a little bit about Service Cloud. So first of all, you may be wondering, why should I care about Service Cloud? What is Service Cloud? I've heard of Salesforce. What is Service Cloud? So all Salesforce admins need to know a certain amount about Service Cloud. And it is the world's #1 service platform. And oh my goodness, I forgot to update this part of the text on the slide that I copied from the other slide. So this part right here, let me just annotate. You can just ignore this completely, and we'll we'll update the slide in the version we send out. Let me see. So that's not related, but it's the world's #1 service platform, and it's on the exam. So any of you who have started learning a little bit about Salesforce, you know that most new talent in the Salesforce ecosystem are looking to get their Salesforce administrator certification, and there's a difficult exam associated with that certification. And 13% of that exam content is about Service Cloud. And then if you want to increase your skills and your certifications from there, 10% of the advanced administrator exam is again about Service Cloud, because these are basic parts of the Salesforce platform that many companies use. The world's #1 service platform, a lot of companies using Salesforce are leveraging the tools available in Service Cloud. Also, if anybody starts using Salesforce Service Cloud or starts studying Salesforce Service Cloud and you just really find that I love this, I want to kind of make this my specialty in the ecosystem, then there's also a Service Cloud consultant certification you can pursue. Similar exam required to these exams, but much more difficult. The consultant level exams are more difficult. At least most people find them that way. And so that one, of course, would be all about Service Cloud and what you need to know to effectively provide consultation to companies using Service Cloud. So we have some resources here to share with you that I'm going to copy into the chat before I forget. And then I'm going to show you some other things. So we're going to do a quick demo, but just a quick outline of what these resources are. First of all, there's a keynote video. Don't open these yet, but copy them onto your notebook or your Word doc, wherever you're keeping some notes from this session. There's a Service Cloud overview from Salesforce that helps customers understand what Service Cloud does. Adidas customer success story. We might take a minute to look at that. And then there's a really great short demo. This is less than 2 minutes. If you just really want to see more about what Service Cloud can do, that's a great way to check it out there. So don't open those yet because it will start playing. And I'm going to go ahead and switch over to where I can show you a little bit about how we use Service Cloud. I've got to get rid of this annotation. There we go. Okay, so what is this? I think that's the wrong tab. Here we go. So we have in our why is this so big? Let me just escape out of here for a moment. Okay, that's why. In our Supermums community, anybody who signs up for one of our trainings gets access to this community, and this is built on Salesforce. A lot of companies using Service Cloud are also using communities, and a community is basically, think of it like a store window where they display certain products that they have. So community is like a store window where you can display certain parts of your data from your Salesforce org. You don't want the people accessing your community to see all of the data you have. They don't need to be running reports or exporting data. They just need to be able to interact with some of the data in your community. That's one of the ways you can understand what communities are. So our trainees log into this community and they have access to their training here, a chatter group where they interact with their peers. But if anything goes wrong, we ask them to submit a case. So cases are used, they're part of Service Cloud. Cases are used. You've undoubtedly submitted cases before with different companies. When you call their support representatives, or you submit a form on their website saying that you have a problem, that very likely goes into their system as a case, and quite possibly in Salesforce. And so on a community, you can, if you want, you can give your customers or your partners access to submit their own cases. So this test user in our community has submitted this case. I'll show you really quickly how she can submit another one. So she says, I have a problem. I need to tell the team about it. She's going to answer certain required fields and submit her case. And then our team will receive the case. We're going to view the case on the internal side of Salesforce. So this is behind that store window display, you might say. This is what's going on in the whole store and even in the back room where things are organized. So this case comes in and our team can see the case. We can update different fields. We can email internal team members or the customer about the case. We can post to Chatter. We can call the person if we need to and log a call. We can access what are called knowledge articles. Maybe we know there's a knowledge article about this issue they're having. We can find that knowledge article and share it with the customer as well. So all of this is part of the way that Service Cloud is used to make the customer experience better. It's about putting in the support team's hands the things they need to provide the customer with a great experience, and providing the customer with a great way to let the team know that they need help or they've had a problem. And then on the back end, what the Salesforce administrator does is in the setup side of Salesforce, where you're configuring different aspects of these processes to make it work better. So in setup, you can look at all the options related to cases, for example. You can create case teams. You can set up auto response rules. This is so that when they submit, they get an automatic response, and you can configure those with logic so that they get the right kind of response based upon the information you received with the case. And then you can create assignment rules so that different types of cases are going to the right members of the team so that things can flow better. The other thing you can do is create escalation rules. If you know that your customers should be receiving a response to their case within 48 hours and it's 25 hours or whatever limit you want to set, and they haven't received a response yet, then you can escalate that case and make sure that the right team members know that that needs to be answered promptly in order to not go outside of your agreed upon level of service. So there's a variety of things you can do here, and then the knowledge articles can also be configured here. So you can create your settings around knowledge articles. So perhaps certain groups of users or customers should only have access to certain types of knowledge articles. So I'll give you an example of this. In our community, our trainees have access to knowledge articles that are about topics they need to see, homework, etc., and their work experience projects that they may have questions about. However, we have a large pool of volunteer mentors. They also need knowledge articles, but those are articles about how to support their trainee. Some of those knowledge articles are answer keys for the homework, so we don't want the trainees to see that and make things too easy for them. So we have those through the knowledge configuration options. You can set that up so that the right people are seeing the right information. Any questions about that? Or Abby, is there anything you'd like me to show them further? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, were you going to show, was it working to show a specific example that you had?
I was, thank you for reminding me, yes. So one of the really great customer service experiences that I remember having in the last few years was with my garbage company. So I had started to learn about Salesforce, and I believe I was studying for my admin exam at the time. And so I went to my garbage company website and I was like, I think they're using Service Cloud. I think they're using Salesforce. And so you can see here that they have a chat bot, and I've asked a question and they said, that varies by location. You need to call this number. And then I ask another question and they're like, well, we need to know your address, which I put my address in here if anybody wants to send me a letter. At that point, their chatbot kind of failed. And that's the way chatbots are. I don't love their message here, but in my memory, the customer service experience that I had at that time, which I don't remember what it was awesome. So I asked the representative I talked to, are you using Salesforce? And they're like, yeah, we use Salesforce. I was like, it is awesome. So I left a feedback message and I said, kudos to your Salesforce team. You're doing great work. The process was really smooth. And so in my mind at that time, I was thinking, I would like to work with them. They're doing great work with Salesforce. Like that would be a fun company to work with. So if you start having great customer service experiences or whatever, just think, you know, they might be using Salesforce. And if I gain these skills, maybe I could join their team. That's kind of the way my mind went. But they also have a community, which I couldn't get it to open today, but they have a nice customer community where customers can get answers to their own questions and then easily find the next step, the next level of service if that doesn't meet your needs. So that was one example. And then the customer success story we wanted to share was with Adidas because we thought everybody knows that company. They shared their customer success story here, and I wanted to, they said through Salesforce, they were able to upgrade their customer support. And they have 1,100 at this time care agents that are able now to deliver smarter, faster service, which just makes for a better customer experience. I know there's nothing more frustrating to me than if I call and I have to give this person my information and then they transfer me to the next person. We have to start at square zero because they don't know who I am or what I want and they don't know about my last 3 calls. And so I love it when they're like, I see that you did this and they can help me. Those are people that are effectively using probably Service Cloud, but some kind of effective customer service solution.
I've heard lots of fairly anecdotal stories as well that I'd love to know if there's any truth behind about interactions on social media as well. So things like social media teams that are monitoring people's tweets about when they're complaining about things, and then the companies being able to respond to that because they have this single source of truth where they can tell if they know their client's Twitter handle, what they've complained about, and to be able to get in touch with them. It's so clever what it can actually.
Yeah, when you see companies like large companies that are able to respond on social media to app mentions or complaints and things like that, you know that they have some kind of a system that makes it possible, and it's very likely through Service Cloud.
And when you get into Salesforce, you start viewing all those interactions so differently. Now, whenever I'm, you know, at the customer end of something, I'm thinking, what are they doing? What are they using? And if it's terrible, I'm like, are they using Salesforce? Should they be using Salesforce?
Yeah. Sometimes you have a feeling they're using Salesforce, but they need to improve the way they're using it. And so once you learn what the capabilities are, you're like, they should have used case escalation rules. What's going on here?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it definitely puts a whole new perspective when you become a customer because you know what the issue is and how they might be able to fix it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit addicted to this Salesforce thing. Great.
So,
yeah. Do pop any questions you have in the Q&A or the chat. I've got the chat open at the moment, so do keep popping any questions you have about Salesforce or Service Cloud, or we're just about to start talking about the different certification paths actually. So we'll share a little bit more information about Brooke and myself and our experiences and our team's experiences. But I know I talk to a lot of people who are thinking about signing up to our courses, and a lot of what they ask is about, okay, what's the progression? What do I go on to do? So admin's great, but I know a lot of people, they say, oh, I want to be a consultant. I want to be going for those other certifications, or I have this certain experience. Is that going to be relevant? And so some of the stuff I'm often talking to people about are the pathways and career paths. So we just wanted to take a little minute to talk about that now. I would say it's one of those things where there's this thing within Salesforce that you may have heard of, Trailhead, and then the people who are doing Trailhead and people who are working in Salesforce are often referred to as trailblazers. So I'd say it's about kind of blazing your own trail and finding your own path. And as you get more into Salesforce, if you do our course in particular, we're going to be exposing you to lots of the different pathways, lots of the different certification routes, lots of the different careers, and to help you understand where you might fit within that. Because I know some people who I speak to are just want a complete change. They've been doing something for years and years and years, but hey, they want to start from scratch, have something completely new. Brilliant. There's lots of opportunities for that. But also there's a lot of room to build on your previous experience as well. Almost whatever background you're from, there's a way that can be applied into Salesforce, because so many different companies use it. So you're talking things about fashion and retail, like with Adidas. Then we were looking there at a garbage company that you had there. My personal background is not-for-profit sector, and lots of charities use Salesforce. Then we can start talking as well, like we can see at the bottom of this slide here, marketing specialist. So if you've got a background in marketing, we also run a marketing course as well. So there really are lots of different ways you can use your skills. There's also financial services cloud, health cloud, education cloud. There's lots of different Salesforce products and lots of ways you might be able to build on your previous experience. So there's no like really right or wrong path. It's not like this is the path and this is what you must do. But there's certainly some more obvious paths which are laid out here. So for example, if you really like the technical side of Salesforce, so if you're really into code and want to learn that kind of thing, there's the technical architect pathway, where you can start to learn everything behind Salesforce. So one of the things, particularly at administrator level, that Salesforce is really proud of is this idea of clicks, not code. So it's administrator level, you don't have to know how to code. There's a lot you can do with that platform without having to know that kind of stuff. But if that is really what you love, you can take that route. If that's not the route you want to go down, there are still lots of other careers you can do. So that's when we're starting to talk about some of the consultancy exams, for example. So you become an expert in the product and what it can do, and talk to businesses about how they can implement it. Certainly the direction I would like to go in is doing that with non-profit organizations as well. So you kind of, as we say, build your own pathway really through learning a little bit more about what your strengths and weaknesses are and where your experience might fit. And I always recommend people take a look at the trailhead on this actually. Brooke, have you got it open there for us to just have a quick look at? We won't go through it all, but I just want to show you so you can go away and have an explore if you haven't already. So Trailhead is a great platform. We work with Trailhead, particularly on our marketing course, if that's something that interests you, to deliver the program. It's a great learning resource, and it's got so much great stuff on there that isn't just about Salesforce technical functionality. They've done some great stuff lately about working from home, but here they've got the career path section that you can take a look at as well. So you can discover your ideal career in the cloud. So if we scroll down, it has some of those statistics that we talked about earlier about the jobs in the ecosystem. But if we keep scrolling down, you'll get to look at some example job roles, and it's worth having a look at these. So if we look at, say, the let's just say let's go to the admin, why not? If we just look at the admin example, it brings up some useful information about the kind of key skills or the type of person you might be, that, you know, the traditional profile of someone in that field and the things they like to do, average salary, and the kind of things they might be doing within their role. So it's worth, you know, if you're not sure where you might fit, it's worth having an explore of those. As well, also to get an idea of the different industries, those customer success stories that Brooke shared earlier, it's well worth looking at those for all the different products, because that really helps you understand. There are some there that are specific to retail companies that are using Salesforce. There are some that are specific to like financial services companies that are using Salesforce. So they're really helpful for you to have a look at, to see like where you might fit within from your industry experience, if you've got any in a different sector. So I really recommend you go and have a look at those. So for example, there's the Adidas one, but you can, it's just the customer success stories one. It brings up a whole range of different companies and probably some businesses that you're going to recognize. And you can search it by each individual platform. So I think this one we're looking at is Service Cloud, but there's one for Sales Cloud as well. And actually, if you look at the, a good place to look is the product keynotes. So for the big Salesforce conferences, there's usually a keynote for each product, and in there they often have a customer success story, and they'll have someone from the business come and talk about it. So there, I really advise kind of having a good look at those, and loads of resources on YouTube, and we'll give you the links like Brooke has already done in the chat, but we'll also follow up with them on email as well. So
I remember this one from the admin keynote at Dreamforce, the State Farm one. I think he got on stage.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And I also remember saying to you, what's State Farm? I had no idea who they were. But
it's insurance for anybody who's not familiar. It's one of the most common insurance companies here in the US. Very good.
So
did you want me to go back to any of that, Abby?
Just back to our slides, please. That's fine. So have a look at Trailheads, have a look at the customer success stories. They might help you understand whereabouts you fit. But we just wanted to talk about a little bit about our team, use the context of our team to help you understand some of the certification tracks that there are, because we're each blazing our own trail and working to our own strengths and interests to build our certifications up. So I kind of do this, I might do this a little bit backwards and start with myself, just because I'm last on the slide, but I'll start with myself. So I was on the Supermums program. I finished it last year, kind of about this time last year, and then I took my certification in the autumn, so I'm an administrator. Thanks to Brooke's tips, which she can go on to talk about in a minute, I think. I think I'll probably be aiming for Platform App Builder next. That would be my next certification. But big picture, I got into this because my background is charity and not-for-profit, and I saw how Salesforce could be used really effectively to help charities be more efficient and be more effective in their service delivery, and I'm really passionate about that. So eventually I would like to get back to trying to look at the non-profit success consultancy certification. So that's where I'm heading with it. Brooke, should we work our way backwards through this slide?
Sure. Sure, let's do it. I think I'm off mute, right? You can hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I just took my Platform App Builder exam over the weekend, and I started with the administrator exam. Of course, that's mostly where people start, though it's not required for every path. And then from there, I decided to pursue the advanced administrator. And I can't remember what my reasoning behind that was. I think it was because I started next with Sales Cloud, just because in searching for some jobs, that's one that people were asking me if I had. And so I started to study Sales Cloud, but that was a big leap for me, the Sales Cloud consultant certification, because in my experience up to that point with Salesforce, I had been working in a department where we were focusing on custom objects, not the standard out-of-the-box Salesforce configuration. And so we had a larger team of admins, and I was not focusing at all on the marketing and sales part of our company and our organization. So jumping to Sales Cloud Consultant certification was a big leap for me because I had a lot of learning to do. So I decided to pursue Advanced Administrator next, and that was a perfect for somebody who is going for the Sales Cloud Consultant. I definitely encourage them to take Advanced Administrator and study that. And if you already have the sales background, it will probably become much more easily for you. Both the Advanced Administrator exam, especially if you've been doing sales on the Salesforce platform, and the Sales Cloud Consultant exam, because some of those things that you need to know more about for those exams, you may have already used if you've been using Salesforce in sales, which I wasn't. So a great path. But if I had to do it over again, I would have attacked that Platform App Builder exam right after I got my administrator exam, because there's so much overlap, and it would have been like a quick win, confidence builder, would have been nice on my resume. And so I definitely want to encourage people to do that, especially if you don't have a strong sales background. And next, I think I'm going to pursue the Community Cloud Consultant, because we use Community Cloud at Supermums, and it's a great opportunity to skill up in that and gain some expertise there. And oh, I was going to talk about Vicky. Vicky and I worked together at our previous companies, and we had a chance to start blazing our trails at the same time. She just took off like a rocket. She got her administrator, then got the Community Cloud. Then, if I remember right, this is the order, Service Cloud Consultant, which we also use at Supermums. Now, I believe she has 2 Marketing Cloud certifications, and she just recently secured her Salesforce Certified Instructor on the Marketing Cloud, and that's awesome. It was really difficult, and huge kudos to her. for that. But, you know, here she's combining her background in teaching and education with her passion for Salesforce and all of its awesome tools like Marketing Cloud, and putting that together into, you know, this certification for instructor. Very cool. So I think Abigail's going to talk about Heather's journey.
Yeah, thanks, Brooke, for your update. And it's definitely really useful to keep talking about it and learn from other people, because I was at the stage of thinking, okay, I've done well, I'm pretty settled, got my admin under my belt, and was kind of riding on that. And then Brooke was like, you should do Platform App Builder next. So it's good to have that motivation and that tip that it's a great one to do. So thank you for that. So yeah, then we've got Heather, who has got lots of certifications under her belt as someone who works in consultancy. Quite often consultants have quite a broad variation because they need to understand all the different products to understand how an organization like a charity or a business is going to, you know, which ones they're going to need and which ones are going to be best for their organization. So a good consultant needs an overview of that. They may choose to specialize in a certain area within a big consultancy, but it's good to have that overarching view of all the different products and how they work together and which might be best for which organization. But most recently, she has started to get on the track towards the architect level, which is one of the, it's kind of like the top level in Salesforce, if you like. There's the solutions architect and the technical architect. And she is actually going to start taking one of the courses that we run. So as well as the administrator course, the marketing course, we run the platform developer course, which is where you do start to get into what is Salesforce code, particularly with the platform developer one. You're not looking at writing code, but you're looking at understanding code, reading it and knowing what it'll do. So she's going to start that next on her way up to the architect level. So she's really aiming for the top with that, which is great. So we've got quite a good base within our team of people like myself who are quite near the beginning of the journey, and people like Heather who are a lot more experienced, and it's great to be able to learn from each other and keep each other motivated as well.
Yes, and I love what you pointed out. I forgot to add it to the slide, but that Heather, she also has other certifications that are kind of neighboring certifications to Salesforce skills in project management and business analysis. I can't remember which one she has, but she has some of those, and then she's been able to combine that knowledge into our consultancy course to share with trainees, whereas she pursued that in like multiple courses. She's able to compile that information into a concise consultancy course to share with our trainees.
Yeah, and the consultancy course is really interesting one because it's not just for consultants. So even if you're an administrator working within a business, really you're consulting with lots of different teams. So the administrator course will get you the technical understanding of what Salesforce is and what it can do and how to use it. But it's the consultancy skills that help you understand how to put that into practice, how to work with different people. I certainly found that now I'm working a little bit on doing some work with our instance and just having to speak to other people within the team about how they use it and making sure it works for everyone. How to actually vocalize that, how to put that into a plan and how to action it is a completely different ballgame to knowing how to just do the technical.
Yeah.
So there are definitely some certifications and other trainings that are really useful. And that's what I was talking about, actually. I mentioned Trailhead is really good for that as well as having the technical routes. There are some trails on much broader subjects around career development, management, leadership, things like project management, effective change management. There's loads of really great tools on there that are all really complementary to the technical knowledge as well.
Absolutely. Love Trailhead so much. So we want to make sure we're opening it up for questions as well. I haven't seen any questions come through. Let me just double check here that there's nothing I can
as well. I haven't seen any.
I did see someone raise their hand at one point. I can't remember who that was, but I believe you should be able to turn on your mic if you'd like to. If you can't turn on your mic, please let us know in chat.
Can't see any questions so far.
Well, a lot of the questions that about our course can be answered in the training section of about our courses, I should say. They can be answered in the training section of our website. So I definitely always encourage people to go there. Oh, someone with an accounting background.
Yeah, as well, yeah. That's interesting because we do, yeah, it depends because accounting as well, it can mean lots of kind of different things really. I would say there's kind of the transferable skills and the obvious things. So we do have, there is a product, Financial Services Cloud. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know all about it because I really don't. But you can definitely go ahead and look on Salesforce's website to find out what it is and what it does. But I know I've definitely spoken to people who have come from financial backgrounds before and transitioned into Salesforce. And I think, or built on their skills with Salesforce. And then I guess one of the key things I found, and this is from my experience, is the fact that when I did my work experience, which is part of the administrator course, it really boosted my confidence in me understanding how my background could help, because I could understand it from the user perspective. So that's what's really important, is understanding what people are trying to get out of it so that you as an administrator or a consultant or a developer can build it. So if you, that's where your background in financial services is gonna help if you go into Financial Services Cloud, because you've been in that person's position and know what information they need and what they need to do with it. So for example, when we, in our instance, so we have to take payments for our courses. So that does go in via Salesforce, and we have, I would say a finance team, but it's one person. And I need to understand, I'm at the moment doing some work on our Supermums instance, and we're going to be making some changes, and I need to get my head in her position to understand how she needs to use the product and what she needs to see on the other end to be able to do her job effectively. So if you've been that person, that is really, really helpful. So I would say, take a look at Financial Services Cloud and what it does, but don't rule out all the other products as well.
Yeah.
In those products, but within that environment, because your background will be really helpful. I don't know if you've got anything to add.
What comes to my mind too is to think about ISV partners on the App Exchange. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with the App Exchange and what ISV partners are partners who have basically created a tool that can be installed in Salesforce instances for companies to use and extend the functionality of their Salesforce org. So recently I met someone at a conference. I think Breadwinner is the name of their app. So they have an app that allows integration between QuickBooks and Salesforce. And I can just, things like that come to my mind. I don't know, I don't have an accounting background, but things that work for accounting purposes, as with an accounting background, you would have an understanding of how that needs to work, like Abby was saying. And you could work for an ISV partner like that. Or you could, you know, your specialty as a consultant could be fixing that part of their business process and suggesting tools that work for them. The other thing that comes to my mind is I briefly worked with a friend who has a recruiting company for accountants. They recruit, they're looking for people with Big Four experience with Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, and whatever the other one is. And those same companies recruit Salesforce talent. So I don't know, it just seems like a small world, and somebody with an accounting background that's familiar with companies like that, I feel like they would feel at home in the Salesforce ecosystem.
It depends again on the kind of route you want to go down and what kind of person you are. And I always remember learning this on Trailhead, actually, just to go back to it again, about, and it really helped me understand myself and my career goals, in that, like, I'm quite a generalist and I like knowing a few things and applying them in different fields, or you can be a real specialist. So know that in Salesforce, in the Salesforce ecosystem, you could be an admin, you could be a solo admin, which means you have to be really quite a generalist. You have to know a bit of everything and know how to do a bit of everything, and not really know anything really in depth, but just know you can figure out what you need to figure out for your instance. Or you can get so niche, you can get really, really specialized. So you could be working for something like QuickBooks, as an example that's come up here, or Breadwinner, or one of these apps on payment solution integrations, and be like the specialist on that, you know, and know it to the nth degree. So it depends what kind of person you are. If you're someone who really likes to get into the nitty-gritty detail of things, then that kind of route might suit you. Yeah, so I hope that's kind of helped a little bit. Oh, Brooke, you're on mute, hun.
Yeah, that was a really good question. We love getting questions like that. And we were going to, if we don't have any more questions about this time, we wanted to give a brief rundown in case there's anybody who doesn't know yet about our Supermums program. I can't remember, Abby, were you going to cover this part or was I?
No, it's fine. I'll head on to it. Yeah, so I recognize a few names. So I think I've spoken to quite a few of you that are on the call, just looking at some of those names. So some of you may already know some of this, but how our training works, particularly our administrator course, which is kind of your entry-level Salesforce. We've got our online training, mentorship, work experience, and job placement support. So, you know, especially at these times, we're used to running online remote courses. So our webinars are all recorded. So if you can't make them live, they go in this learning community, which you've had a little insight into today. So when you join our course, you get access to this online community where everything is, it's like a one-stop shop, where you can watch all the videos, see your homework, submit your homework, chat to your peers, submit cases for support if you need it. So you get access to all of that. Then you get the mentorship. So we have some really great people in the Salesforce ecosystem. It's another great thing about being in Salesforce is this idea of ecosystem and what they call Ohana. And that really shows by the number of volunteers we have who work in Salesforce, love it, and want to help other people get into it, which is why we have all these brilliant mentors. So you'll have a mentor that you can meet with, ask questions for. They're really great, I found on mine as well, not only for the technical help. So like, I can't do this piece of homework, can you help me? Usually it was because I haven't checked a box somewhere or something. So the technical side, but also helping you understand some of these things about where you might fit and where your career path might go, because, you know, we can't always guarantee it, but we do our best to make a match with someone who perhaps has got some relevant skills or background or career history to yourself. And my mentor was from the not-for-profit sector as well. So she was really helpful at just helping me understand where my skills might fit, which was really nice. I already mentioned the work experience, really, really great way to consolidate your skills and make sure when you're going out later for those jobs, you've got your first success story to really sell yourself with. Because constantly throughout Salesforce, it's about experience and certifications, and kind of keeping that balance as you go. So you're proving that not only can you pass the exam, but you can actually put it into practice. So we've actually had some really exciting new partners come on recently in the UK. Economic Change, which is Heather's consultancy, works with us on the work experience placements. But Brooke, you've got some partners out of the US now for anyone who's over there.
We've been working with Exponent Partners for our first round of work experience projects for the admin course, and they're a wonderful consultancy partner. They only work for nonprofit clients. So all of this work they do, all the configuration projects they do are for nonprofits. And then our Supermums get to do projects with their team to benefit those nonprofits. And that's pro bono work that our Supermums are doing, but they're gaining experience as a result. And then we also started partnering with AKA CRM recently. We have not had any new projects with them yet, but we expect to work with them for the projects for our March cohort, the cohort that started in March. They'll get their projects in June. We're really excited about that from our conversations with them. They love mentorship. And so their team is all about, you know, supporting the growth of these Supermums trainees that are going to be working with them. They're really excited about it. They're just as excited about it as we are. So that's really nice.
And they get excited about it because they need you. They need people like yourself who are going to be training. You know, these businesses can't grow without the talent, and the talent isn't out there at the moment. So, you know, that's why lots of companies, so all of our sponsors, you know, are investing in Supermums and this training in lots of different ways, our sponsors and partners, because the ecosystem needs it and they need the talent. So for our administrator course in the UK, it's St James's Place Wealth Management, so a financial services company, who are sponsoring our program. And in the US, it's a company called Validity, who are a ISV partner of Salesforce. So even though if you haven't heard of them right now, you certainly will when you become part of the Salesforce ecosystem. We also have the likes of Accenture sponsoring our marketing program, Deloitte Digital on our platform developer program, and Dyson sponsoring our consultancy course. And we have other ISV partners who are just joining us as well to share their products, because part of our training, and an important thing to say about our administrator training, is that it's so much more than just passing the exam. What we want to prepare you for is the world of work. So we do cover some topics that aren't on the exam as well. So we give you an introduction to things like project management in IT. You know, what is it? Often they're using Agile. So we just give you the first insights into what that is and how it works. And also things, yeah, like all the different third-party products like Brooke was just talking about, the app exchange. So you don't need to know a lot about that and the products to pass the exam. You need to know some, but we definitely take you that step further so that actually, because when you're an admin in a role, you are going to need to know that stuff. So I don't know if there's anything else that you cover, Brooke, as the training manager.
We're actually going to be growing a little bit, but what we train our trainees on in the app exchange module, because what we're finding is that our work experience partners, they are frequently using certain apps in their projects. So if our trainees have at least a minimal knowledge of that app before they're assigned to their project, they're in a better position to get started with it more quickly once they're assigned to that project. So they don't have to start from ground zero. Like they get on a project, then they need to use form assembly. Well, the form assembly training they get during our course will help them. And we've also started partnering with Conga, and that's a tool that some of our consultancy partners use very often, very frequently in their projects. And so they're like, oh yes, if they could learn a little bit about Conga, that would increase the number of projects we would be able to consider assigning to them.
And that's really going to help in terms of getting a job at the end as well, right? Having those additional products, having that understanding of those additional products is going to be really helpful for the resume or CV. So yeah, that's how the training works. Online mentorship, work experience, and then we'll help you get a job at the end. We've got a UK-based recruitment service, Supermums Recruitment, but in the next few days, we will be announcing a partnership with a global recruitment company in the US as well, who's going to be helping place our mums in work, which is really exciting coming up. So keep your eyes and ears on social media for more news about that.
Any of you that have been talking to me over the last few months, you've probably heard me say, I wish I could tell you more. It's not finalized yet, but it was finalized Monday from my understanding. And so we're just, all of our team is just waiting for word from Heather to be able to say, yes, listen to this. So we're really excited about that. A global recruitment partner that we're going to be working with that can help our super mums with their job placement. It's not something we can guarantee, but we're so glad to have those. And to have companies coming to us saying, hey, I want to consider hiring your talent.
Yeah, we're getting more and more, and a lot of that came out, those initial conversations came from being at Dreamforce, and it's so good that so many more companies in the ecosystem are understanding who we are and what we're doing and wanting to support it, which is really nice. So even if we're not the ones that find you the job, a lot more companies and customers of Salesforce are recognizing, oh, Supermums, yeah, I know that, I know what they're trying to do, I know what their training is and the quality of it. So we really hope that Supermums brand is going to be really helpful for people on our courses.
Yeah.
Any more questions coming in? Don't think so. What's the next slide, Brooke?
Well, this is about our courses, and excuse me, I have a friend who joined my room here, my 7-year-old. He's like messing with all my stuff. Yeah, so we've touched on the different courses we have and where you can find out more info. With all of these on our website, on the training portion of our website, I'll copy this into chat. You can click the find out more, and I really encourage you to do that, because you can ask us questions all the day long. We're happy to answer questions, but you can get a lot of info when you download our info packs on each of these courses, right, Abigail? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah.
There we go.
Classic Zoom error. It's just a bit of background noise that I don't want to interfere, so sorry about that. Yeah, download pack, book a call with me. We will send you the link in the email that follows up. I know a few of you even have my number anyway. So the next step, if you're sure you want to do it, is to fill out the application form, which will also be in the follow-up email that you get. And just to say, I guess, with regards to the courses, something I want to make clear is that admin is a great place to start if you're brand new to Salesforce. However, if you've got a marketing background, it would be worth you just looking at and downloading the Marketing Cloud course pack as well. If marketing is something you enjoy and it's an industry that you want to stay in, you don't need any Salesforce experience to start out on the Salesforce Marketing Cloud course. It's a really great course. Vicky is leading with it. Now she's got her instructor certification. It's actually, we have partnered with Trailhead to build the content and deliver it. We've got demo orgs for Marketing Cloud, which you work in during the course, which can be really hard to come by, so we're quite unusual with that. And it's one of the first times that anyone's been able to deliver Marketing Cloud course virtually as well. We worked really hard with Trailhead to make it more accessible, because previously, for example, when Vicky did the training, she lives in France, she had to come to London for 2 weeks of classroom 9 to 5 training, which was really intense. But we've, campaigned and managed to create a course that is a lot more flexible for people, hopefully makes it a lot more realistic for a lot more people to take. So if you've got a background in marketing, do check that out as well. And I think that's all on the courses.
I wanted to mention, for anybody who knows our team personally, you may be aware that Vicky's going to be on leave soon, but she just let us know that she's gotten, she has connections now that are also trained Marketing Cloud teachers, that she's going to be able to get cover from people with the right skills while she is out, for anybody who's aware of that.
And have a handful.
I love our Supermums alumni, and what we do as a team to keep our alumni engaged, and then also to continue helping them grow. This was a celebration earlier. Well, it's not this year now, it's last year. Last year of some of the Supermums. The Salesforce Tower was happy to host this graduation ceremony. You were there, right, Abigail?
Hopefully we'll get back to it eventually, but yes, we try and have a celebration event once a year for all the Supermums who have been through the course to do the, come up and get a certificate and have a nice glass of fizz to celebrate your achievements. So we try to bring everyone together because we are about the online remote aspect of it, but it is nice when you can meet up in person. And we're actually building that up at the moment with a team of ambassadors. So people who are going to work more regionally as well, because we are aware that, this particular graduation is in London, but we've now got a team in the US as well. So we're going to be arranging, trying to find ways for more people to meet up if they want to, and just to connect people, because that is definitely what the ecosystem is all about and what Supermums is all about as well. Just being there to support each other and connect and help each other on this journey.
Mm-hmm. And so if you are in the US, think about this. Our team is talking about, doing something, whether it's formal or informal, at the time of Dreamforce. So if you are thinking you'd like to be at Dreamforce, this is just one more reason for you to try to make it there, as our team will be there. So
I just saw a comment come in from somebody who is based in Switzerland. So yes, for anyone who's out there in what we call EMEA, so kind of Europe, we call our course that is based out of the UK time zone is a European course, really, and it kind of happened without us really planning it, in that we had people from all over joining the course. So we've had mums from Spain, mums and dads from Spain, from France, from Germany, Ireland. I don't know if we've had anyone from Switzerland yet. You might be a fair. What we're trying to do is pass on, create hubs in different countries. So the plan eventually is that there'll be ambassadors, if not like a paid staff team, there'll be ambassadors leading the Supermums presence in each country, so that people in each region can get together. But especially with regards to just some practicalities around the course itself, so all of it is remote. Even the work experience element is remote. So you meet with a project manager online through something like this to discuss how the project is going to go. You go away and then do your bit each week and come back to those meetings. So again, there aren't any barriers to you participating wherever you are, really.
Actually, interestingly, with one of our projects that we had for our US-based, our first group of US-based trainees, something fell through because of the COVID-19. Some projects fell through at that time. It just happened, and it turned out that we needed an extra project for one of our US-based trainees, and they were able to work with Economic Change based in the UK on a project. So we have that flexibility that, like, ideally we'll be assigning our US based trainees to a US based consultancy because of the time zones, but we have projects coming in from our various consultancy partners in different regions. So we can be flexible because of the cloud-based work.
Yeah.
So let's see, was this Claire? Claire was asking about contacting you, like you said. So I want to switch to this slide because it's our final slide for one. Thank you for coming. And it also has our contact info. This is kind of standard info on most of our slides, but for today, these I believe would be, you know, your best action items. Download an info pack if you are interested in one of the courses. And then from there, you're invited to book a call with our team. You can do that from the links in that you receive with that info pack, or through this link, which I'll share with you. Are you going to add it to that?
Yeah. I was just about to do that. Yeah, I was just finding a link and I'll put it in chat. So we have something called Calendly where you can book directly into my diary web call. So I'll just put it in chat now. So that will give you a link directly to my diary. And then in there is also an alternate link that if you can't find time with me, you can find time with my colleague Shellin, and she's based in the US time zone. So have a look and see what works out for you depending on where you are. But that's where you can book in to have a one-to-one with myself or my colleague. And yeah, that's really have a one-to-one book in and then apply. So our next course starts on the 4th of May. So get your application forms in. That's a really great course. 4th of May to the end of July, and then we have a break in August, and the work experience for those projects starts in September. That's the same for the US, right, Brooke?
It wasn't, but I think we might change it to that, so it's all lined up. Our break for the US course will either be July or August, so we're taking the full month, one of those two months as a break during the course.
So we have a lot of people who are trying to manage kids and summer holidays, so we know it's not the ideal time to be starting out on a work experience project, so we often have a break in the summer. Plus we are a really small but dedicated team, and it's nice for us to have a window of opportunity.
Yeah. That way we can all take turns having our breaks during that month off. So absolutely. Well, this has been, I really enjoyed talking with you, Abigail, and hearing the comments from everybody who joined. And I hope we can do this again with some more information. I suppose that if they have any particular topics they would like to hear about, they could let us know.
Yeah, sure. There's going to be, as I said, a follow-up email that will be coming out to everyone in the next couple of days. It'll have all the links we've talked about today, but do feel free, you can reply to that email and it will come to me. If you've got any ideas, more questions, things you'd like to know about, then yeah, let us know and we'll do our best.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a lovely evening or rest of the day, wherever you are. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. I see a chat coming through, so I won't end quite yet. Okay, thank you.